Yeah, good day class. Welcome back to our tutorial for the next session. So today what we are going to talk about is how to use the conditional statement, or how to use a conditional expression, or how to use a conditional construct. A conditional statement are program-defined words or program-defined boolean condition that evaluate if a value is true or false. It's used to test for a value if a value is true or false. So that is what is a conditional statement. So today we are going to look up how to use COBOL to write a program that can be able to test for these conditional statements. So the first thing we are going to look up is how to use the if condition. The if condition is used to test for a value if it's true or false. So let's start writing our program using COBOL to do that. So what we need to do is for us to write a program that can be able to use the if condition. Let's start with the if condition to test if a condition is true or false. So the first thing we are going to do now is for us to kill in our condition. So let's start with declare our data type in our data division. So we'll come here and say okay, 01, then let's say score. So when you put score, then let's say our data type should be 9, and it should take the value of 10 values. So let's enter. So we have declared our variables. So what we need to do next is for us to write our program whereby the user needs to kill in the score value. So let's say display enter score. Then when you enter your score, then you should be able to accept the score. Accept the score. So now, for us to test use the if condition. If conditional is just used to test a value if the condition is true. So for us to use the if condition statement, what we need to do now is for us to come in and say, okay, if condition, if score is greater than 60, then you put your code. Then what should happen? Then you should say display you win. Then you are going to end your end if. So with this now, be able to test if a condition is true or if a condition is good. So with this now, I'm trying to use the if conditional statement. So with this now, I can be able to click on. So what you need to do now, if the condition is greater than, let's assume we enter 65, you are going to see you win. So assuming we run it again and we enter like 40, it's not going to show a value because I never tested. I'm only using the if condition statement to test for a value once. Let's assume if the condition is this, just show this. If this condition is this, then the statement. So we can also use the if then statement, if else statement. If else statement is used to test a condition if it's true or false. So with this now I can be able to test a condition if it's true or false. So what I'm going to do now is this. Assuming I have something like this, I can be able to add, let's say, S Then when I say the word it should display you lose. So with this now I'll be able to add another statement here. So here now is for you to use the if. The first one I did was for me to use the if statement to test for a condition. So here now is for you to use the if else statement, whereby you can be able to test for a condition if it's true or false. So like this now I can click on this. Let's assume I enter 17 to show me you win. So let's run again. Let's enter 45. It will show me you lose. So with this now I'll be able to test for my condition if it's true or false. So you can be able to write a program for several things. You can write a program to calculate for voltage and also test for voltage. You can to test if the voltage is high or if the voltage is low or if the voltage is, it all depends on what you want to do. So you can use your nested if, they call it nested if, whereby you can test for several conditions so that you can be able to get your program right. So with this now I'll be able to write my program to be able to calculate for voltage, for score, and again it should be able to test if the score, if you win or you lose. So that is how to write a program using the if statement and the if else statement. So you can also calculate for more by adding more values. So sometimes you don't normally use this. You can write the value in numbers. Let's assume I don't want to write it in an English format like this. I can come here and can say, okay, if score is greater than, maybe I want to use the mathematical expression is greater than 60, then comma, then what should happen? I can say display distinction, then S display pass. Then you need to end your end if end. So with this now I'll be able to write the program in another way, whereby I change the values. So you can click on run to see if your program won. Always test your program. Let's say we put 45, it's going to show pass. Then let's run again. Let's say we type 65, it's going to show distinction. So you can write it in that format and you can also write it in this format. So one beauty about it is for you to know what you are doing. So you can test for a condition using the if statement and also using the if else statement. So assuming I want to use the nested if, whereby you can test for several conditions. Let's assume we want to calculate for something like a voltage. So what I'm going to do, let's assume you can change here to, let's assume you can come here and declare your variables. Let's assume we enter the voltage, or you can compute for the voltage. So let's assume we want to test for voltage. What we need to do now is for us to do, let's assume we can call here 01, then voltage, then we can call it peace. My characters. So you can delete this one out. You can say enter or enter your reading, enter your voltage reading. Enter your voltage reading. Then here now you need to accept the voltage, which is accept voltage. Accept voltage, we accept voltage. So what you need to do now is for you to come here and say if voltage is greater than 70, then what should happen? It should display high. Then with this now you can come here again and say if voltage is greater than 60, then what should happen? Then what should happen? Let's say display risk. Voltage is at risk. Then you can come again and say if voltage is greater than 50, then what should happen? So what you need to do now is for you to put, let's say, display and say normal or stable. Or stable would be better. Stable. So with that now I'll be able to do that. Then here now you can come in and say okay, else what should show is that it should show low voltage, low. So with this now I'll be able to use the nested if, whereby I can be able to test for several conditions. So you as a person, you can be able to write your program to test for several voltage and test for other using the if conditional statement. The if conditional statement is one of the most important statements used, or conditional statement is one of the most important statements used in any programming language. So you must make sure that you know what you're doing, and you must make sure that you apply. You can also use this to test for several values. You can test, okay, if the bank is this, if your credit in your account is greater than this, you should be able to show this, it should be able to display. You can also use it to compute your results. If it's this, it should show distinction. If it's greater than 60, it should show upper credit. You can use it to compute your result and compute several results. So with this now I'll be able to write my program complete. So let's click on run to see how it runs. So assuming we click on run, then maybe we enter like 55. It's showing what? Stables. Then again let's click on run again. Let's assume we enter like 35. We click on low. So with this now you'll be able to use the if conditional statement by writing the values correctly. So you can also test for other values, and you can also use other values. You can test for other values, and you can use the program to write other values using the if conditional statement and using the if else statement and the if statement. So with this, that is where we are going to stop for today. You can subscribe to our channel to get more information and to understand more basic aspects about how to use the if conditional.